Pleased to be joined by Pro Football Hall of Famer Tony Dungy. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. It's great to be with you guys.
It's very unusual to see Tony Dungy and controversy in the same sentence. How weird has it been, the reaction to the comments recently?
You can't really worry about it. It's not something, I don't want to be controversial, and it's not something you try to do, but it happens at times. So,
And we don't think it was controversial.
Well, and being, pro-life for some reason is controversial in some corners of media. I just don't understand that concept. It's beyond me. It's certainly us with our show and our company, not that way with it. But how do you handle that when you're talking about your convictions and who you are and what you believe? But for whatever reason, that's now a controversial stance to some.
Again, I think you have to speak the truth in love, and you have to speak your opinion. And so you try to be loving about it, but, I'm always going to represent Christ, number one. I'm going to represent my family and my beliefs, and, that's just what you have to do. So you can't really worry. I've been in controversy in a number of different areas. I can remember back a few years ago when I went to Leavenworth Prison and saw Michael Vick, and I told Andy Reid, I think he's a changed man. Well, that was controversial. Mm-hmm. People, how can you stand up for a dog killer? So you're never going to please everybody.
Well, take us through, from someone who's done it and coached in a Super Bowl, what is this week like for both coaches, specifically Nick Sirianni, going through this for the first time?
That, to me, is going to be the key. When our team went in 2006, I was with the Colts. One of the people I called was Andy Reid. And I said, hey, Andy, tell me about this week, what it's like.
2 years before, I think he was in the game.
Yes, he was in. And he gave me some tips that made a big difference in how we prepared because he had been through it. Well, Nick Sirianni, I'm sure he's called some people too and gotten some pointers, but Andy's been through it. A lot of these guys on the Chiefs have been through it, and it's a long week. They feel like they've been here forever. They're going to want to play this game today if they could. You're going to get out there. You've got a long warm-up and all the build-up to the game, and just handling those last 48 hours, that's something where experience does come in.
What is the best piece of advice you would give a coach who called you?
I would say, number one, let the guys enjoy the week, enjoy the moment. I told our guys, we had Monday and Tuesday, no curfew. Edgerrin James was from Miami. I said, Edgerrin's got you guys. I don't want to, just don't go to jail. I don't want to hear what you do, but just relax and have fun, enjoy it, enjoy the week. And then we're going to start to gear in, 48 hours before the game, Friday night, Saturday, let's tune in. And appreciate the moment. Appreciate the moment that, hey, this doesn't come along all the time. So let's make sure we give it our best shot for these next 48 hours.
Tony Dungy, our guest on OutKick 360. You know Jim Irsay well. Are you surprised by the last 12 months or so with Jim as the owner of the Colts, or is this is this on point with the guy you know?
I was surprised when he let Frank Reich go. Frank had some success there. They'd been in the playoffs a couple times. They got off to a little bit of a slow start, but a lot of people were off to slow starts, and I didn't see that coming. Once he decided to make the move, the things that have happened since then haven't really been a big surprise to me. He's a believer in Jeff Saturday. He is a relationship-oriented person, Jim Irsay is. So that didn't surprise me. I like the way he's taking his time going through this process. He thinks outside the box a little bit. He's examined a lot of people. The fact that he hasn't made a decision yet kind of leads me to believe it may be one of these coaches involved in this game that he's got his eye on. I don't know. But I love the fact that, it wasn't just, okay, I interviewed 10 people and now I'm making a decision. He's taking his time.
What was it about Saturday that Irsay sought?
Well, Jeff was a leader, and Jeff was one of those guys who, behind the scenes, he got a lot of things done. He was involved with the Players Association. He was one of our captains. He had leadership qualities, and that's what Jim was looking for. I remember when I got the job, I got fired in Tampa, and Jim Irsay called me on the phone. He said, hey, you don't need an agent. You're the guy I want, and let's get this figured out, you and I together. and it was outside the box at that time, and the way he did it. So he doesn't always march to his own drummer, but I think he's going to do what he thinks is best for the organization.
Andy Reid, I believe, is in season 24 as a head coach. You stepped away at, what, 13 years. Do you look back and think, man, if I kept going, I would have done this, or was the calling greater than just coaching?
It was the time for me to step aside. I didn't think I'd go into television and broadcasting, and that's helped me stay involved with the game, but I've been able to do other things, and I've been able to get involved in things in the Tampa area and our foundation, what our family's doing. I've been able to help some other people, other coaches. So for me, it was time. But when I look at Tom Brady and Andy Reid, guys I competed against that are still there doing it, you think, wow, they've been at it a long time. But Coach Reid's fantastic. I have a lot of respect for him and what he's done with not only the Philadelphia franchise, but the Kansas City franchise now. Special.
I hit record all on Football Night in America and watch every Sunday and really enjoy it and the rapport on that show. How much fun are you having staying attached to the game and being able to talk about it weekly?
It is beautiful for me. I enjoy football. I enjoy our family at NBC, and we get to cover some great games. But to do different projects, I got to go to Jacksonville and interview Doug Peterson for the game and talk about his impact of what he's done, not only for the team, but in the city of Jacksonville. Those are the kind of special things. I got to go to Buffalo and cover a game up there and actually did a chapel service for the Bills before the game, and I got to meet DeMar Hamlin and some of those guys, and that have become kind of in the forefront of things since that incident on Monday night. Those are the things that are special, the relationships you build, and being able to go to the Chiefs locker room after their win and congratulate Coach Reid. Those are things I cherish.
I didn't even realize this was the first Super Bowl with two black starting quarterbacks until someone wrote about it. And I think the fact I didn't even realize that shows how far we've come when it comes to that, because it's not even anything people think about when they think of Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. That certainly wasn't the case. You were a college quarterback. You played defensive back in the NFL. When you look back at your transition from college to the NFL and the way things were thought about then compared to now, what do you think?
Yeah, I look at Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes and their style of play and the fact that they're the leaders, unquestionably the leaders on their teams. And as you say, no one talks about that. We just take it for granted as a fact. Well, I go back to the 70s, and we had Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts type of guys who didn't get the opportunity to play, and it was different back then. I think we've made a lot of progress. I think we need to continue that progress, but it's neat to see the unquestioned leaders of this team really, we wouldn't have seen this 20 years ago.
Tony, great to have you on the show. Really appreciate you stopping by, and you've got the breakfast tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah, looking forward to that. Kirk Cousins is the Bart Starr Award winner. He'll be honored at the Super Bowl breakfast. He was selected by the players as the person who's had a good year on the field, but a great year off the field. The gospel will be shared at that breakfast, and people will get the idea that, yes, this Super Bowl is great, and the team that wins is going to be honored as the best team in football, but it might not be the most important thing of the weekend.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you so much.
Coach
Appreciate
Tony
it.
Dungy has been our guest. Great visit here. More to come from Radio Row.